What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are. It's not even 10 a.m., but man, this morning was dead. We didn't have any big headlines. That's what I was hoping for, but we didn't get it. Now, for my watch list on Sunday, which I uploaded last night, we had KNW, and this stock right now is up 115%. In fact, this morning it peaked at about $5 a share. So that was a stock that gave us nice continuation from Friday into Monday. The problem was the bulk of the move was like between 4 and 5 in the morning. It was too early, so I missed it completely. Now, I did sit down and I saw it and I'm green on it, but we didn't get clean price action this morning. Now, there are a couple other stocks that started to pull away, but as we sit right now, I'm green on 2 stocks and I'm red on 4. I'm down $5,000. And I just said to myself, it's not happening. $5,000 in the red doesn't matter. I mean, big picture, it doesn't matter. No, I don't want to have $5,000 red days, 10 days in a row. But it feels like today was a day where there was a headwind on every trade that I took, where I would jump in something and it just didn't pull away. We didn't get that momentum. Now, some of the stocks I traded had news headlines, but they just weren't strong enough to help the stock sustain its early gains. So essentially what we saw is news headline, a quick pop, and then I'm looking to get in on that first pullback, and it just didn't go higher. So that speaks to, I think, 2 things. 1, the headline's not being strong enough. And 2, sentiment being a little bit weaker and traders just being a little bit more cautious after, a couple tough days last week. So let's go ahead and jump onto the charts and start breaking it down. So Xena, this is the last stock I just traded. And on this one, I bought this breakout right here. It pushed up, came back down, and got out. Actually for a loss. It was a $1,300 loss. So a small loss on that. My first trade on the day, go back to ELAB. This one squeezed up, as you can see right here. But on that first 1 minute pullback where it had a chance to push higher, see, you'll get zoomed in on it. So you can see it popped up right here, pulled back, popped up. I took this trade right here, trying to take that curl over VWAP. Didn't really work. Didn't pull away. Next trade, KNW. Well, this one, unfortunately, and I was watching it here at the open, but I just thought it'd be too crowded. This one, unfortunately, it just didn't want to pull away. I tried to take this break of VWAP setup right here, and although it popped up, it didn't squeeze back up to this high. So again, just kind of this slow price action. MCTR, the trade I took on this was looking for a first daily candle to make a new high, a dead cat bounce. Didn't follow through. Got a little pullback there. It pops up, and then look at that rejection. That's awful. So fortunately, share size was small, so the loss was small, $978. GPUS, this one I lost on as well. It pops up. Got in on a little micro pullback here. Doesn't work. So that one lost $300 on, small loss, trying to test the water. And then the biggest loss was SNPX, which, pulled back, squeezes up, and I got in right here and it rejected. So first 1 minute candle, well, this was the first, so it was a second pullback, and it just couldn't push higher. Now, this one had this news of, the crypto treasury, which has been a tricky headline and one that has been hit or miss, although mostly it's been miss. So, at this point, it's unfortunate, but it just feels like the writing is on the wall, and you could end up getting a move later in the day, but I'm not in a position where I have the confidence to sit around and wait for it. And if I sit around and wait for it to take, a Hail Mary trade to get myself back to green, that doesn't feel worth it. Now, one of the problems could be that KLTO is up 238% with nearly 400 million shares of volume. It's a penny stock. So this is drawing a lot of attention down into the lower price stock. And that attention might otherwise have been focused on stocks like KNW, GPUS, Xena, or, one of the others that I traded. So when you have a lower price stock like this that's, making a big percentage move, that can be a little tricky. So, that's another factor here today. Now, the overall market, S&P 500, more or less, flat, no big headwind or any big issue there. But it just seems that small caps right now and that crypto catalyst has not been working. So I probably could have. Yeah, I mean, look, at the most today, I was green like $600, I guess, after ELAB. And for a while, I was sitting green like $100. And then I was down 2,800, and I thought, that's not great. So, well, let's see. And then I was down 3,800, and now down 5,100. And it's like, all right, couple losses in a row. They're not big. And that's because I reduced my share size. So although I'm red today, my average losses, across these 4 trades are average relatively small. The average winners are also small today, so I don't have a good profit loss ratio. But I'm just glad that I sized down, because if I had continued trading with big size today, I'd easily be down 15 or 20,000. And then I'd be down so much that it would be, I would either feel compelled to sit here and wait for something to move because I would feel like I don't deserve to walk away. I'm down too much. God forbid something actually does squeeze in the afternoon. I'll be really frustrated with myself that I went and did something else and didn't trade it. Whereas with a small red day, it's easier just to say, look, it doesn't matter. It's water under the bridge. It's one good winner tomorrow will make back $5,000 in 3 seconds. It doesn't matter. So don't get bent out of shape about it. Don't try to chase it. Don't revenge trade. Just have the discipline to take the loss and move on. It's a lot easier to do that, even for a trader who's been at this as long as me, when the loss is smaller. But as that loss gets bigger, 7,500, 8,500, 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, 30,000, it gets a lot harder to pull yourself away because you start feeling this guilt that you took this big loss and, you don't deserve to walk away. You have to fight it out, And, it just, then you're fighting it out in really terrible market conditions that it's not the right decision to do that, but it's what many of us do, and it's a real challenge to not do that. So I feel like I'm in a place right now where I can walk away, and it doesn't. I'm just like, whatever. It doesn't matter. On some of the previous days last week, where I went down 10,000 or 15,000, I felt more compelled to keep kind of waiting around, but I don't feel that way today. I don't feel like it's worth my time. So I'm going to take the loss. No individual stock like wiped me out. 3,400 was the biggest loss, but even that, if you've been watching my recaps regularly, you'll know that these are all really small numbers. I mean, to have 4 stocks where I'm not up or down more than 1,000 is speaks to the fact that the share size was smaller. I was being conservative, and I was taking starters, but I wasn't able to get anything that kind of was pulling away. And SNPX was the first one that started to pull away. And then, of course, it just stalled out very quickly. But maybe part of that was because the catalyst was the cryptocurrency. That's a catalyst that's kind of been wearing out. So in any case, at this point, I think that's where I'm at. I'm just going to call it a day and live to trade another day. I think that's kind of got to be the motto. For beginners, survive to thrive. For traders who've been doing it for a while, break out or bail out, trade the best, leave the rest, don't overstay your welcome. And on some days, it's just not worth fighting it. It's just better to wait for a better day. So, that's what I'll do. And for those that were trading last week, you probably recognize how it feels like night and day difference. Last Monday versus today. And it just goes to show the power of having a strong catalyst, but also when that one stock is the most obvious stock in the market. Today, we look at the volume, and clearly KLTO is what's drawing the volume. That's what's most obvious. And then KNW, second most obvious, but it's going sideways. It's not giving us any clean price action. So the volume is on stocks that, to me, aren't really that great, or just aren't setups I'd be willing to trade. And there's nothing I can do about that. So I'll do better on a day when, a stock that fits well within my 5 pillars of stock selection is the one that's the number one leading gainer, and everyone likes it and has a ton of volume. That's when I'm going to do really well. So today, it's just, even if I stayed all day, it's just not going to happen. So that's it for me. As always, it's a reminder, trading is risky, easy come, easy go. As quick as I can make 5 or 10 grand, I could lose it. And today I'm going to just finish on the red side of things, but it'll be my second red day of the year. And I'm just not going to worry about that. Consecutive green days and don't matter. They don't matter. It's the big picture that matters. And it's maintaining discipline that matters. So I'm just going to try to start this week off with some discipline because, at the end of the week, I'd like to have a green week. And if I do something, really aggressive or really stupid here today, I could jeopardize that. Now, last week was a little different because I had such a huge cushion on the week that I could lose a bit and still be in good shape. But right now, it's the beginning of the week. I don't have that cushion. And, I'm still in that mentality of trying to produce profit consistently. If I can't do each day, at least each week. And if I can't do every week, but at least each month. But I really try to be green week over week. So I'm going to try to focus on this being a green week. And that means keeping today's loss as small and manageable as possible. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. And I'll see you back at it first thing tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Reminder as always, trading is risky. Results are not typical. Please manage your risk, take it slow, and always practice a simulator before putting real money on the line.